I've seen something that seems to be kind of a scam going on, and it has to do with these two components. This is our home water pressure boost pump, and this is from a refrigerator, and you may ask what those two things have in common. Well, that's a fair question. So this story has two parts. One of them has to do with the refrigerator, and the other has to do with this water pump. Well, the first one had to do with the water pump. We called the company that repairs these, and they came out, and their job was to replace a one-way valve, which is back here. The guy shows up, he has the one-way valve. It's in a brand new packaging. It's got all the part numbers and everything on it, so it's an original. And also he had 5 of these little pressure tanks. This is nothing more than a metal can. There's nothing inside of it. There's no components. There's nothing to go wrong with it. He had 5 of these in his bag, but there was no part numbers. They were not in original bags. They were all clearly secondhand. So he doesn't really want to repair this, but he says he will. I finally get him to replace the one-way valve, but he insists that we need a new pressure tank. And I ask him what goes wrong with the pressure tank. I mean, it's literally just a metal can, and there's nothing inside of it. He says, well, they go bad. They need to be replaced. And so I asked him. I said, is that from the factory? And he said, well, no, these are mine. These belong to me personally, so I will replace it for you, but it's kind of as a favor, and then you can pay me directly for it. You don't have to pay the company, the repair company. So I thought about that for a little while, and I said, no, I think I'll pass. We'll see if the one-way valve fixes the problem, and we'll kind of go from there. And yeah, well, it's been years since that happened, but yeah, the tank has never gone bad, so there's never been another issue with it. Okay, so let's talk about part 2, the refrigerator. Well, like the pump here, we had an issue with our refrigerator, which 2 totally different companies, 2 totally different issues, but the refrigerator quit keeping stuff cold. So we called the repair service, and the guy came out, and he had these 2 parts, and one of them's, I think, a thermal fuse, and the other is something like just a controller for the compressor. And they were in the original sealed bags, with part numbers from the manufacturer and all that, and he replaced those. And okay, then he pulls out of his bag a capacitor, and he says, your capacitor's bad, you need to replace it. But the capacitor was not in a manufacturer sealed bag. In fact, he had several of these in his bag. And I said, oh, I see, is that the manufacturer's product? He goes, no, this is, again, my personal stock. So he said, I'll replace it for you. You can pay me directly. You don't have to pay the company. So what I'm thinking is that these guys are basically taking a working part out of the customer before and bringing it to you, swapping out the part, charging you, and knowing it's still working perfectly good, charging you, keeping the money personally, and then taking your good part and swapping it out in the next customer and just going on down the line. I can't prove that, of course, but it seems highly suspect when 2 different companies, 2 different products, 2 different everything have the same story, the same kind of thing going on, replacing parts that are not in the original packaging. And the repair person, is keeping the money personally. So yeah, I'm kind of thinking it's a scam. But anyway, give me your thoughts in the comments below. Let me know what you think. Maybe I'm off base. Okay, well, that was it for today. Hope you find this useful and interesting in your home maintenance issues.